You're listening to the voice of the private sector. Welcome to Brian Bushlach's Business Briefing, only on FM News 101.
Inside the Skype Live studio here at Alpha Broadcasting, welcome to the voice of the private sector. I'm Brian Bushlach. All new edition of the show. Michael Lortz from Geffen Mesher straight ahead. We'll also talk to Vanessa Sturgeon and get an update on Park Avenue West. And then in our next half hour, we'll head to Zillow headquarters in Seattle. Is there a real estate bubble? We'll talk to their chief economist. First, though, you see the tower cranes all across the sky. Portland, downtown, west side, everywhere you go. Commercial real estate is red hot, and the business acquisition market is as well. I talked to Michael Lortz at Geffen Mesher to get his read on the market.
That's absolutely right, and it's been amazing the number of unsolicited offers our clients have been receiving, whether it's for commercial real estate, multifamily properties, as well as for closely held businesses. The amount of offers coming in has been extraordinary, sometimes funded by large venture funds, other times by private individuals, but there just seem to be a lot of folks that have money that they want to put to work, and so values are going up.
Portland market ripe for the picking. I mean, we've seen what's happened in Seattle. Of course, San Francisco's been going gangbusters for quite some time now, thanks to tech and location and many other aspects. And Portland sits in between these two markets and is very appealing for many investors.
Yeah, that's what they tell me, and I'm certainly seeing that in terms of what our clients are experiencing. You know, I do a lot of work with folks that own commercial real estate in Portland, and certainly when you look at the tenants that they have coming in, a lot of those tenants are high-tech companies. Those high-tech companies are coming to Portland, perhaps because of the talent base that's already here, perhaps because values and wages are lower here than those other cities on the West Coast, but it's definitely increasing rent rates here in Portland, which for our landlord clients is a great thing.
Michael, those of us that travel in and out of Portland, Seattle, Northwest markets experience the tightening of the hotel market in the summer in particular. I know there are a number of projects, including some of your clients involved in these hotel projects. I think it's good to see, but is there any concern that there might be too many projects?
That is definitely a concern, although I will tell you that in all the conversations I've had with folks, I have yet to see somebody decide not to do a hotel in this market because they are afraid that there's too many. Now, certainly something I wonder about. We certainly see a lot of hotels announced in the media, and I'm aware of lots of other discussions that are happening that aren't announced yet. But it's interesting to see that so far that doesn't seem to be turning people off. What I keep hearing is that hotels are all about location, location, location. And if you've got a great location in a city like Portland that seems to really be thriving, people think that the hotel will work long term, even if there is oversupply for a time.
It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. We have seen in recent weeks the Chinese situation, for lack of a better word, with the currency issues and their economy having an impact, at least emotionally, on the U.S. stock market. In terms of real estate, though, it could be very interesting to see how this plays out, specifically here in the Pacific Northwest, with all the Chinese money that's out there looking for a safe haven. And if the commercial real estate or real estate market in the Northwest isn't already hot, it could get even hotter.
I agree. You know, we've certainly seen a lot of fairly large deals over the last few years where Chinese investors have come in and bought real estate assets in Portland. And we're also familiar with the EB-5 program, which allows Chinese investors to invest in real estate here, and as part of that process earn a green card. And we've seen some of those deals happening here as well, and I know that there's more under discussion. But even without that money, there seems to be lots of domestic folks that are trying to place money as well. So the convergence of those things, values seem to keep going up. And I think the question on everyone's mind is, at what point will they stop? I don't know.
Michael Lortz joining us here at Geffen Mesher in Portland. And let's flip to the other side of the equation. You also talk and work with many business owners and executives And it sounds like not only the real estate market is red hot, but business transactions and acquisitions pretty hot as well.
They are, and just like with real estate, our clients have been receiving unsolicited offers for their businesses, their closely held businesses. And in our role, we frequently get involved in doing the tax planning for how to maximize the after-tax proceeds to the sellers. What's been interesting is that the amount of strategic buyers who seem to, again, have cheap money available to them seems to have really increased. And as a result, some of our clients who weren't looking to sell, or if they were, they thought that was years down the road, they're being forced to deal with these offers. And it's a good position to be in, of course, but it's causing them to have to evaluate just how much longer do I want to keep owning this business.
I guess it would be because there's so much commercial real estate in Portland that's been held for quite some time. And I know that those owners are probably looking for a place to 1031 that money. How successful are they in locating property for a transition?
Yeah, and it always amazes me how good our clients are at finding replacement property. As you know, you've got to buy something if you're going to do a 1031 exchange and defer the tax gain on the property you sold. And I always ask our clients, how are you finding something in this market? But they seem to be very adept at that. And quite frankly, there are still plenty of properties in Portland in particular that can be repositioned, redeveloped, perhaps a brand new building constructed on a plot of land. There's lots of ways to add value to properties still here in the city.
So overall, with what's happening in real estate, business transactions, it's a very healthy economy right now. There's some concern, though, and we start to hear the B word. I pause on the B word, and Michael smiles because we've talked about this off air. And, you're starting to hear those murmurs, at least out there, among professionals and advisors. You see what's going on here? Hey, 2007, 8, 9, not too far in our rearview mirror. Obviously, we all were impacted by that to some degree. Question is there a bubble out there?
Well, and of course, as a CPA, I'm going to tell you I'm not an economist, so I'm not going to predict that necessarily. But I will tell you, just as an individual who works with clients, it certainly does feel like a fever pitch, and it feels like there may be a bubble materializing. I think the real question is, what would cause that bubble to burst? And certainly there's events that could happen in the world that right now nobody's predicting or thinking about that could have some serious ramifications potentially. But with respect to a systematic issue, the experts that I talk with, nobody has put their finger on what might cause that bubble to burst if in fact we do have one.
Hit the home stretch here. I know we have some corporate work that's being done right now and getting ready for a move toward year end. And I don't know if it's too early to ask this, but it seems to me across the board that this has been a very good year for business across Portland, Vancouver, and our entire region. Are you feeling the same?
This has been a great year. It's been a great year for our firm. It's been a great year for the vast majority of our clients. So things are looking up. Our clients are coming to us with good problems. They have a lot of taxable income this year in many cases, and they want to know what they can do to be efficient in paying those taxes. So lots of year-end planning that we either already have in the works or are gearing up for. Per usual, Congress let a lot of the tax provisions expire at the end of last year, and per usual, they've not enacted any sort of extension legislation yet. It came out of committee but hasn't been voted on by either the House or the Senate. We have our fingers crossed that with elections coming up that hopefully they will act so that we don't deal with a brand new tax bill in the month of December like we've been doing lately, but you never know.
And our thanks to Michael Lortz at Geffen Mesher. Visit gmco.com to learn more about Geffen Mesher. Up next, will the cost of glass put a crimp on construction? We'll talk to Vanessa Sturgeon at TMT.